I do, a 300 horsepower deck boat.
All right, what was the last name?
Levy?
All right, and you had it for just the day, correct?
That's right.
All right, do you have your boater's license or certificate from the video?
I have a boating license.
All right. Perfect, here you go. And did you download the Glimpse app?
I did.
Perfect, would you mind just showing me?
Sure thing. Now, what's that used for?
So it's basically a worst case scenario app. So if there was a problem on the lake, you could share your location with us so we could come find you guys and help.
Oh, great. There it is.
Perfect, and what's your phone number?
540.
All right, so you're gonna fill out this information right here. You can go ahead and leave this blank since you're the only operator. You're gonna read and initial these, read over what to do in case of an emergency and sign here. And on the second page, you're gonna read and initial the highlighted and sign at the bottom.
Okay, great.
All right, you're all done?
Yep.
Perfect, let me just make sure everything's all good. Yep, and if you just wanna go ahead and take this over to Station 2, they'll go over some more stuff with you there.
Awesome, thanks.
I see you filled all your paperwork out. Welcome to Station 2. I'm gonna go over a few things with you before I send you out to the boat, okay? First of all, we want you to have a great time while you're on the water, so do keep that cell phone handy in the event of a medical emergency, fire, explosion, anything like that. Not that you're gonna have a fire explosion, but in the event of a problem, you would call 911. But if it's a boat issue, you're gonna dial us, and our number is right here on your paperwork, and you're gonna call that number if you have any problems whatsoever, okay? Now, if it's a problem that we can't troubleshoot over the phone, we will glimpse you, your location, and we can find you really fast. So that's why we ask you to download that free app to your phone. It's called Glimpse, so you got that on there already.
Yep.
Then when you go out to the boat, the guys will go over all your safety equipment, they'll check the propeller, and they'll go over any additional equipment that might be on the boat for you, okay? Now, if you do happen to damage the propeller, we do want you to call us right away, because if you hit the prop accidentally, we do have to charge you $200 for a tri-tune prop, or $250 for a runabout prop, okay? So just keep an eye on that. I'm gonna go over the map with you, okay? So we are located here at number 15 on your map. We are directly across from channel marker C3. Now the way the markers run on Smith Mountain Lake, you have Craddock Creek right here, which we're in, and all those markers start with letter C followed by a number. The further north you go in Craddock Creek, the higher the numbers will go, the last one being C8. When you turn back around and head south down the channel, you'll eventually run into C2 and C1 at the mouth of Craddock. As you go around the channel, as you go out of the channel, you will avoid marker C2 by staying on the outside of it, okay? This marks a rocky shoal. You definitely don't want to go in between the shore and C2, okay? Also, these islands that you'll notice on your right-hand side as you come out of Craddock Creek, the string of islands, don't go through there. You may see people traveling in and out of the islands. Don't follow them, as you don't know if they know what they're doing, okay? So avoid those islands. As you swing left and you want to go see the dam, it's very pretty over there, come around the back side of those islands leading into the dam. Don't cut in between those islands as well. There are a string of buoys that do cross in front of the dam that tell you how close you can get to the dam. So very beautiful over there. Definitely make a trip to the dam. So if you want to head into the Roanoke Channel, just curve your way around the islands and then pick up the R markers, R for Roanoke. You can travel up the Roanoke, follow through the S curves all the way up. Here's Halesford Bridge. And we just don't want you to go any further beyond R30. It does get very windy and more shallow up here in the Roanoke Channel, up towards the north end, okay? So no further than R30. If you'd like to go in the Blackwater Channel, again, you're just gonna follow the B markers, B for Blackwater, and you can cruise along in the Blackwater Channel. It's very pretty over there as well. We just don't want you to go any further than B11. Again, it gets windier and shallower the further you go in the Blackwater Channel. Stay at least 100 feet off of any point of land, any shoreline, or anyone's dock. All right, that's pretty much it for the map. Do you have any other questions about it?
No.
Okay. And so I will go ahead and fold this up for you. Just remember, when you're cruising along today, you may have alcohol on the boat, but be sure and assign a designated driver. Also, please do avoid these additional charges. We would have to charge you a $100 cleaning fee if the boat came back really dirty, so just bring it back the way you received it. Also, don't run out of gas. If you're just out for the day, you should be totally fine. But if you're out for multiple days, do keep an eye on the gas gauge. They are not 100% accurate like a car, so you just want to make sure to plan your trip accordingly and watch that gas gauge, okay? Also, we do charge $1 a minute late fee, so just make sure you're on time, and you can consult your paperwork or we'll let you know what time you're due back, okay? And remember, this is your responsibility to let us know if there's any equipment failures, anything that's not performing the way you'd like it to. Let us know immediately so we can resolve the situation right away. We want you to just have a great time on the water. Also, to remember that we don't allow animals on the boat, so please don't put any dogs or cats or llamas on the boat, okay?
Got it.
Awesome. So if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to send you down to Station 3. One of the guys or gals will pick you up, and they will take you out to your boat to do your checkout.
Great.
We want you to have a great time, so remember, just call us if anything comes up. You have a problem with anything, don't hesitate to call that number right on your paperwork, okay?
Thanks so much.
Awesome, thank you. Have a great time.
Thanks.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Hey, I'm Jeff.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Pleasure.
Picking one up today, okay?
Yep, DT6.
DT6. All right, well, let's walk on out there and we'll get you all set.
All right.
All right, my good man. You can go ahead and climb aboard.
Awesome.
Now, have you boated on Smith Mountain Lake before?
I haven't.
Have you boated before?
I have.
Okay.
Not a tri-tune though.
So what I'll do is I'm going to go through everything you need out here on the lake, but if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to stop me at any time. So first things first, anything wacky or zany happens out there, medical emergency, law enforcement assistance, accident, fire, anything you would call 911 ashore for, do the same thing on the lake, okay? That reminds me, always want to bring a fully charged cell phone with you and have it with you at all times. And I understand this is the number that you guys will have, and it also has the Glimpse app, correct?
Correct.
Any kind of severe weather, typically it's going to come from the Blue Ridge Parkway. You'll see those cumuliform clouds kind of building. Have your radar with you, keep an eye on it. And what you might want to do is, if you're just out for the day, come back towards the marina, and that way, if you see some violent weather, you can get off the water. Or if you're a multiple day rental, just go ahead and get back towards your rental property. If you do find yourself getting stuck in a storm, it's starting to come in, look for a marina or a commercial dock to pull into. If you get caught in a storm, and sometimes they will sneak up on you, you want to get right off the water. So look for a dock with overhead cover. It can be a private dock. You want to tie the boat up, get it ready to cover, mind your own private property, give us a call, and we'll figure out how the best way to get you back is. Additionally, your boat's due back Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Let's say it's 5:30 in the afternoon, you guys have stopped to eat someplace, all of a sudden the weather comes in, don't get back in the boat just to come back in bad weather, right? Just stay where you're at, we'll figure something out, but we don't want you operating in bad weather. Now, that being said, stay out in the rain all you want, but when I say bad weather, I'm talking about electrical activity, thunderstorms. Any kind of mechanical problems, any questions about the boat, questions about where to eat, where to fish, anything, but specifically any questions about mechanical stuff on the boat, you're hearing a funny noise, there's an alarm going off, you're gonna call us right away, okay? Don't try to fix it yourself, even if you got an awesome set of tools, just go ahead and give us a holler. And if you can't get through for whatever reason, sometimes our reservation line gets a little bit busy, just go ahead and text us, and as soon as we see that text, we'll call you right back, okay? Let's go over the inventory of the stuff on the boat. There's 3 categories of gear. First is stuff you gotta have on every voyage. This is legally required by state and federal law. This is stuff that we put on kind of as a convenience. We'll also check the prop. I'll have you take a picture of it, and I'll also ask you to take a picture down both the left and right sides of the boat. So the first thing is a fully charged fire extinguisher, and we have one over here beside the driver, and we're only required to have one, but we always have a secondary backup right here. And what you always want to do is look and make sure that gauge is in the green right there. If either of those things lose their charge, just give us a holler and come on back and we'll give you another one. We give you 2 just so you have some type of redundancy there. Type 4 throwable is going to be this right here, and this is designed as a flotation device. You'll throw this to someone in distress. When they grab it, they're going to grab it like this, never put it on their back. It has to be within arm's reach of the driver whenever you're operating, so I just encourage people to put it down beside the seat right there. Sound producing device, you do have a horn, which is this right here, but that's actually not legal because if your battery runs dead, you have no sound producing device. So we provide you with a whistle right here, and 5 short blasts is an emergency, okay? Now that being said, you're probably gonna be better off getting help if you use your cell phone first and then use that as a backup. I imagine since you guys have the boat for multiple days, you may be operating at night. Just remember the lake looks a lot different at night. One of the things you wanna do is if you're out there cruising, we're gonna have to have our lights on all the time. And also, if you're gonna sit someplace under anchor, you're gonna be in the back of a cove. You never wanna anchor out in the middle of the lake. And probably the biggest hazard out there is bass fishermen. These guys are moving from one cove to another relatively fast sometimes, and they know the lake real well, but they can be a hazard. So make sure that you know where you're going, and if it's super dark, in other words, no moon illumination, I don't even go out when there's no moon illumination. So as far as the lights are concerned, they're going to turn on and off right here. There's two settings. Down is just the anchor light up top and the back, and then all the way up is both the anchor and the nav lights. So I'm going to walk back here and check your anchor light for you. And you can see she's on and working. And then we'll go ahead and check these our red and green lights up front. And you can see there's your red light working. And there's your green light working right there.
Yep.
Now when you're out on the lake in the evening, one of the best memory aids to kind of decipher the lights is if you look out there and you see a red and a green light, that's red to green, can't be seen. You're behind them. Green to red, dead ahead, they're coming at you. And that's the memory jog I use to know which way the boats are coming. As far as life jackets are concerned, the life jackets are stored underneath the seats here. These are for life saving only. They're adult vests only. None of these can be used for kids. They're too big, and you can't do any water sports with these, okay? And we need as many as the boat is rated for. The boat's rated for 15 people. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'll annotate that on here for you. Your anchor with line sits right in here. And you can see that it is not tied off, okay? So we tie this off. We're never gonna tie it to one of the rails. We're always gonna come over here and tie it to one of these cleats right here, okay? Now the lake is a man-made lake. There's a lot of trees and debris down there. If this gets stuck, give it the old college try. But if you can't get it out, you're just gonna untie it. This rope will sink and leave it. And there's no charge for a stuck anchor, but if you throw it off the boat and don't tie it on, then that's 30 bucks, okay?
Got it.
And also remember, when you do anchor, that rope is 50 feet long. It's 74 feet out here. So if you drop anchor out in the middle, let's say you're to lose power or something, you're gonna drift for a little bit until it catches, okay? Ropes, you have 4 of them. You have 2 on the front and 2 on the back. They're nice and long. You wanna make sure that, you can see down here, there's no crazy knots or anything in that rope, and that's how it needs to come back. They're nice and long, which means the aft ropes can actually get caught in the prop. So I'll show you this little trick. Go ahead and untie this baby like so. And as I said, it's nice and long so we can get caught in there. All I'm gonna do is take it like so, put it in a pile here in the back, and then take this top part and just tuck it back in there. And that way I know that there's no way I can take a look and visually see it's right there. I'm not gonna drag it and get it caught in the prop. And like I said, there's 4 of those. They're blue, they're yours. Don't leave them at a dock or whatever, okay? Your oar is located right over here. It's right down here. And this is not to row the boat back with. All that's for is, let's say you were to lose power and you found yourself drifting back towards the rocks. Use that to hold yourself off the rocks. But in any circumstances, if you do find yourself up against the rocks in a storm with the wind or whatever, stay on the boat, okay? Orthopedic surgeon's expensive, lumen repair guy not so much. We'd much rather take care of that than have you injure yourself or your family. So bumpers, there's 3 of them. And if the boat's gonna get damaged, it's probably gonna happen in the slip, because as the boat gets tied up, wakes come in. I think you're staying at a rental property, is that right?
That's right.
Sometimes rental properties, the docks are a little bit in disrepair. There can be nails sticking out, screws or whatever. So these will save you from having to pay any damage on the boat. So they all come like this, and they have this adjustment feature on them. And you can adjust it by moving it up through here and pulling it all the way through. And if you look down here, typically where you want this is right about like that. You want the very top of the bumper right at the top of this this fairing right here. And if you're at a dock that has just one side, you're gonna put all 3 on this side. We give you 3 of them. And so there's 2 ways to do it. All the way up here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna tie this right down here, even with the fairing, just like so. And I would put one on this back bumper right here, on this back cleat right here, but it's not long enough, right? So I'm just gonna take and I'm gonna add a second bumper right here, just like so. And that's gonna keep the boat, when it bangs up against here, so that we're hitting plastic bumper and not any part of the boat, okay?
All right.
Always make sure you take these in before you go underway. You don't wanna look like a renter out there, right?
That's right.
All right, you got no trolling motor and you have no pontoon ladder. When I say no pontoon ladder, there's no, well, not one you can lose. There's one attached to the boat. We'll walk back here and look at it real quick. This is your pontoon ladder, and that's how it ought to look when you're out there. It has a little snap here on the side, and you can lower it and bring it back up. When you're underway, you want it up like this, and you want it snapped. Now that's the only way in or out of the boat, which means that it's right next to the motor. So you have to be very cognizant that everybody that you're operating with knows that you'll never have the motor on when they're swimming around the boat. Never should anyone approach the boat from the back when the motor's running. And anytime I'm anywhere and there's somebody from my 3 o'clock to my 9 o'clock, I'll have the motor shut all the way off. All right, now what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and check our prop. And now it's time when you go ahead and take some pictures. And I encourage you when you rent anything, whether it be a boat, a car, whatever, picture's worth 1,000 words. So we're gonna take a picture of the prop, picture of the starboard side of the boat, and the port side of the boat. All right, so let's do that real quick. So what we'll do is go ahead and raise the prop up. Now the prop's gonna raise and lower right here, okay? So I'm gonna go to up, turn around, I'm gonna raise it all the way up. Now let's take a walk back here and look at it real quick. And you have your cell phone on, you wanna take some pictures of this, baby.
I do.
All right, you can get over on this side, take a couple pictures of it. I'm gonna spin it towards you here real quick. So you can see it has a little tiny bit of edge damage on that one right here. Make sure you get a picture of that.
Yep.
I'll annotate it on here for you. Now, if you're out there and you do hit the prop and bend it to the point where we can't repair it or it needs to be sent off to be repaired, it costs $200, but you do get a free t-shirt out of it, right?
Awesome.
So here's how not to get the free t-shirt. First thing is, if you look out here, you can see these buoys out here. All the lake buoys look essentially the same, but they have different meanings on them. So that's the no wake buoy with the circle. The diamond shape that says shoals on it, that just is indicative of low water. That's what you want to watch out for. Don't go anywhere near the shoals. I know it's station 2, I think. They went through with you where everything is located, so you know where that is, but you'll also see them out there. And if you see a shoal marker, steer clear of it.
So diamond's bad, circle's information.
That's correct.
Got it.
And if I look over here, I see there's a nice gentle slope from that grayish brown house. Nice gentle slope out there all the way down to the water. Remember, that same gentle slope you see above the water continues under the water. So give yourself about 200 yards from any point. If you're gonna go into a cove like this cove here, always go straight in, never cut the corner, okay? Don't go to the islands, don't go between the islands, stay away from the islands. People think the islands are a wonderful place to go. There's a lot of geese out there with no natural predators, and they relieve themselves out there. And if you go there, you'll understand why you shouldn't go to the islands. Nowhere near as cool as you think. Sometimes after a big rainstorm, we'll start to see some debris, usually further up the lake. So that's something that you could have impact your prop, and you could be doing everything right, staying in the middle and whatnot. If you think it might have got too low or you might have hit something, just go ahead and shut the motor down, raise the prop up, take a picture, and send it to us, and we'll tell you, hey, it looks like it might be okay. We'll come out and change it, or we'll come get you, whatever the case may be. If we tell you to continue on, if you hear an odd noise, a strange vibration you weren't hearing previously, just go ahead and turn the stereo on, drop anchor, turn the motor off, relax, give us a haul, we'll come right out and take care of you, okay? So you've got your pictures here. What I'm gonna ask you to do now is go up on both the left and right side of the boat and take a nice picture down the side of the boat so you can see if there's any damage, especially on the rails and the tunes, okay? So why don't you go ahead and get those pictures, and I will finish this paperwork for you real quick.
Got it.
All right, but before you get back in, what I'm gonna have you do is take a look at this. This is a condition form. Basically, it just shows you a graphic representation of the boat. And beyond those pictures, if you see anything, rips in the upholstery, or anything you want to annotate, I'll give you a few minutes to look over the boat and just make any annotations there you want. There's a small tear in the upholstery right here. You see that itsy bitsy tear?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and write that on
All
there.
right.
And to be honest with you, I don't see anything else, but take your time and look around.
All right, I don't see anything. Do I just go ahead and sign?
Yeah, go ahead and sign. Let me date it for you first here,
Okay.
and then you can sign. There you are, my good man.
All right.
All right, so that's the end of the crazy paperwork. You can climb back aboard here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these, all these white copies of these forms, and I'm gonna hold them in the office. And you're gonna take these yellow ones right here. Now, you're required to carry these with you all the time. It does serve as registration while you're out there. Let's say you were to get pulled over by law enforcement, and for some reason, since you're here for a few days, they might have flown out of the boat, or you might have lost them or something like that. Just give us a text and we'll send you texts of the originals so you won't get a ticket, okay? But as I said, I'm going to put all this right in here. You do want to make sure you have this with you at all times on the boat. And you can either set it down inside this compartment here, but when I'm out driving around, a lot of times I want to get to my map, so I'll just take and stick it right there. As I said, this stuff goes back to the office. I'm going to place it over here for you. All right, so now let's talk about getting the boat going, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take our key, and we're going to put it into the key slot down here. I'm just going to click it over one time, and all my gauges should come to life, and you can see they do here. So the first thing we have is our trim indication of whether our motor's up or down, RPMs in the thousands, and then your fuel gauge, which is accurate here, okay? So what I'll do is, first thing is I'm going to go ahead and put my motor all the way down, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to look on the gauge, and I'm also going to look behind me and just make sure it's going down. I'm going to bring it all the way down. So you can see my motor's moving and my gauge is moving now. And wherever it bottoms out at, it's going to bottom somewhere between 3/4 down on the gauge and all the way. But once it stops moving, it's all the way down. So there you go. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and if we pull this run kill switch right here, okay, and we try to start the boat, we'll get an audible tone. Now to fix it, I'm just going to take this and replace it around this little tab right here. And one thing you got to remember is that if you're out there and you're underway and you hear that noise, when this is in, it means either high temperature of the engine, low oil pressure on the engine, or gas in the fuel. In any three of those cases, if you hear that thing go off, you go ahead and shut it down, drop the anchor, turn the stereo on, chillax, just call us and we'll come right out. The boat won't start if it's in gear, and this is how it goes into gear. There's no interlock to pull, but if it's in gear, it won't even crank. But as long as my motor's down, visually and on the gauge, I'm in neutral, and my run kill switch is in, it should fire right up for me. To get her into gear, there's no interlock to pull. One thing I'm going to want to do is, I always put my finger right here. I never place it on the trim button. I only hit the trim when I want to hit it. And once I've checked the prop, there's really no reason to bring this motor all the way up out of the water. You can trim it a little bit up or down when you're out there in the water to get it to ride a little bit smoother, but in no case you're going to go over about half on the gauge, okay? To get it into gear, there's no interlock to pull. I'm just going to put my hand here, look behind me, reverse, neutral, and then forward. When you do take the boat out for the first time, you know, it's just, a boat is just like an airplane, right? The times you can have the most problems is takeoff and landing. So in a boat, that means leaving the dock and coming into the dock. So what I always advise people to do is go out there in the middle where there's nobody else around, just like when your dad taught you to park a car probably, in the middle of a parking lot, and go all the way to the left in reverse, and then all the way to the right in reverse. Just see what the low speed handling qualities are. And you want to really practice that transition from slow forward, you know, into reverse, and then to slow the boat down. And that way you have confidence when you're going into the dock. So one of the things you want to consider is docking the boat. And as I said, the times you can damage the boat, you know, more than any time else is either leaving the dock or going into the dock. So winds can be a little bit tricky. What I always do is, as I'm going into a marina, I'll look for a flag, or look for the wake of a boat, look for something that is indicative of which way the wind's going. And in light and variable winds, you can pretty much come in whichever way you feel is safe. But you do want to try to approach a dock in heavy winds with the wind in your face. And just realize that when you are coming in with the wind at your face, you do have to keep power on the boat to let it continue going forward. If you take the power all the way off, the nose will either swing to the left or the right. And as always, don't be afraid to say, hey, this isn't working out. Go ahead and make a turn, wave it off, come back around, and slow and steady always wins the race. Now the wheel here is adjustable. Let's talk real quick about the entertainment system and the navigation and depth finder system. So both of these are tied to this accessory button right here. When I turn this on and hit this source button, my music is going to come up, and I have different selections here. I can go for just regular AM FM radio, I can go to Bluetooth, and I can also go to auxiliary. Auxiliary is going to go in either through a USB or through the aux cord here, and also if you have a phone that needs charging, you can charge right out of this this USB, or also out of this 12 volt if you want to bring your own 12 volt adapter. So the Garmin, you have to physically turn it on right here. And with the Garmin, just think of this button right here, this multi-directional button, as your mouse. Think of the check button as enter, and then think of this button with the curved arrow as back. So you can see it comes up and it has all these different pages you can use. So the first page I tell people about is the traditional page. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll up to the traditional page, hit the enter button, and this tells me I'm in 9.4 feet of water. It's 78 degrees. Now if I want to do a little more navigating around the lake, I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button, come down to waypoint map, hit my enter button like so, and you can see right here, this is the people that had the boat last time. So I can use my up and down arrows here to zoom in. So I'll zoom in here, and I can take and dump all those tracks and all those waypoints, and that way you can put in your cottage that you're staying at. You can put in good fishing spots, restaurants you like to go to, or whatever. At the top, it gives you a heading tape, gives you your GPS heading, your GPS speed, and it tells you what the motor is charging at. This is probably the one for going place to place, and then the traditional one, and once again, to get back to it, very simple, hit my back button, scroll up to traditional, enter, and now I'm right back to where I was. This is probably the best thing for fishing, okay? Now when you go to get out of the boat, all you're gonna do is reach over here, click it off like so. You'll hit your accessory button down, turn your nav lights off, and you're all set, ready to go. Never had a boat stolen, had a lot of set of keys get lost. Unless you have younger children in the boat, you can just leave it in the, leave it right in here. And if I can help you with anything else, let us know.
You mentioned the trim there for the motor. When I dock tonight, do I need to keep the motor out of the water, or can I leave it in the water?
You're going to leave it in the water. And so with a boat like this, normally you don't even mess with the trim on a pontoon boat. But because these are such high-powered boats, when we get out there, we're always going to start with the motor all the way down, okay? Then we'll go ahead and give it as much power as we need to get the boat up and on plane. And it might feel initially like the boat's kind of, the nose is pushing down, it's a little bit hard to steer. You're just going to give it a little trim input, kind of like this. And you'll kind of feel the boat go, ball, ball. Whoa, you'll just feel it. It becomes much easier to steer, and that's going to give you a smoother ride, give you better gas mileage, and probably 2 or 3 knots more on the speed. But as I said, you know, even as I brought it up here a couple, you can see I'm nowhere even close to halfway up, and you don't want to bring it too far up. So once you get it down, the only reason to bring it back up again is to trim it a little bit underway, or to think if you might have hit something or run aground, you want to check the props. But other than that, you just leave it down the whole time.
Now, what's the best way? You mentioned if I'm docking and I don't like my angle, I can always go around. Or is there a way to slow down or stop in the water and maybe reverse then?
So there is, and the only way to do that, of course, is going to be with your directional thrust. So this is forward, of course, and this is reverse. And as I said, you want to go out there in the middle, practice your low-speed maneuvering in both forward and reverse. But if you need to go and slow the boat down very quickly, do not do this, okay? Just bring it into reverse and just add aggressively, but just bring it back, because if you go into full reverse, it can stop the boat immediately, throw people forward, and start to bring them backwards. But a rather aggressive application of power will stop you right in your tracks. And that's something, if you're going about 15 knots, you might want to try, bringing it all the way to a stop. That's when I talk about, practicing your low-speed maneuvering. That's exactly what I'm talking about, that transition from forward to reverse. All right, I see on your paperwork also you have the water sports pass, which means you can tube, you can wakeboard, you can ski or kneeboard. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that real quick. First things first is we've got 2 kinds of ropes. The T-handles, that's what you're going to use if you're doing any kind of water sports that involve holding onto it, okay? So that's going to be either kneeboarding, wakeboarding, or ski. But for the tube, we're going to use this rope right here. So what we're going to do is come back here, and regardless of whether we're doing tube or wakeboard, skis, and kneeboard, we're going to use this right here. And this is our sports tower. So all we're going to do is just take and undo our rope like so, and then to get it in, I'm just going to bring it up around just like this, right up here like this, push it through, and just bring it back like that, and that's how we're going to pull, okay? One thing you want to make sure of is when you do pick up someone on a tube or in skis or anything like that, if they fall off, always want to pick them up with a headwind, because that tube is going to blow much faster than the boat itself, and you don't want it coming back and impinging on the motor. You want it to be all the way back behind you. So on a pontoon boat, this is all you need right here, and then I will show you how to store that tube and make it so that it doesn't blow away when you're going, but we tend to store it right back here for you, okay?
Awesome.
So on our pontoon boats, there's only one place to hook up your ropes for your water sports. On our runabouts or deck boats, there's 2 places. The tube always hooks to this bridle right here, never anywhere else. And then this, which moves up and down right here, this is going to be for water skiing, for wakeboarding, and for kneeboarding, and you're going to use this right here. The tube is heavy enough with 3 people on it that would actually bend this, and that's why we go to the bridle for tubing. So you can see that there's 2 arrows on here, one for lift and one for lock. So to lift it, I'm just going to put my fingers underneath here like this, lift it up all the way as high as I can get it, and then to lock it, I'll just turn it like so, and it's going to hold for me. To get it back down in again, just do the exact opposite. And that's all she wrote. Well, if you feel confident, you don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and untie you and get you ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's switch seats and get you
Awesome.
out of here, my good man.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Remember, anything comes up, you holler at us.
Appreciate it.
All right, first things first, I'm going to give you these. I'm going to set them. You can stay right there. I'm going to set these down right here for you.
All right.
And like I said, you want to make sure that wherever you dock, you put these out. I'll slide these back here for you. All right, Captain, have a seat.
All right.
Okay, so your motor's down,
Neutral.
kill switch is in. Now, one thing you got to do is you want to make sure that anytime you're operating the boat, it's a federal law now, but not a state law, but we still encourage everyone, you're going to go ahead and either put this on your wrist or attach it to your life vest. And what's going to happen is if you were to fall out of the boat, when this pulls off, it's going to stop the motor so you can get back
Ready.
to the boat. Okay, you're neutral. Fire up, Captain. All right, I'm going to help you out here. Nice, easy reverse. I'm just going to sit right here. I'm going to watch you get out past the no wake zone. If everything's going good, you give me a wave and take off, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then it comes up, you give us a holler.
See you tomorrow.
So thank you so much for renting from SML Boat Rentals, and I hope that that gives you a little indication of what it'll be like when you get here to pick up your boat. Now, you don't need to remember everything that we just went over in that video. It's kind of like a primer. We'll go through everything with you when you get up here. Just remember, if you have any questions, concerns, or you'd like information about anything at all, not only boat rentals, but about the lake itself, where to stay, where to eat, where to fish, please let us know. Our job is to make sure you guys have the best possible time up here for the entire time of your rental. And if you have any questions about this video before you come, don't hesitate to give us a call, shoot us an email, and we're happy to let you know what's going on. We'll see you this summer.